nothing. I do not wish to discuss it.
Miss Bennet!
I suppose I was just thinking how Charlotte Lucas shall do of this room once you are dead. What do you think, Lizzie? Will she steal all our furniture? Or will she burn the place down to matchsticks? She may do whatever she likes, of course. She will be mistress of this house.
Mamma!
I do know one thing, Jane. There will be no gallant Mr. Bingley coming to ride to our rescue, for he'll have been long snatched up by some halfway intelligent woman with an inch of spine.
Mamma!
And we, just a ruined old widow, and her dried-up spinster daughters may well weep over lost chances. But it will be too late then to cry.
My dear, let us hope for better things.
Oh, that I shall live to see these days.
Or perhaps you'll die before me, so you shall have to endure none of it. No. She'll never die.
At least she stopped throwing things.
It won't last much longer. Charlotte has moved to Kent, and when you return from visiting her, Mamma will be too eager for gossip to hold a grudge. And as for
Only
he shall soon be forgotten, and all will be as it was. I have nothing to hope for, Lizzie. It was an error of fancy on my side. Nothing more.
But surely he must have felt something for you.
Then why did he leave so suddenly, and no word for a month?
I cannot believe the Bingley we knew would act in this manner, but every day confirms the inconsistencies of all characters. Do you love him?
I thought love would be a faultless understanding between souls. Perfect knowledge without words needed. I don't know his mind.
His behavior is unaccountable.
Maybe I just loved who I thought he was. But even if I did love him, doesn't mean that I know he's the right match. How does one ever know?
Hello. You'll never guess what beast I lured home again. Come, sir. Come. Mr. Wickham.
Miss Bennet and Miss Lizzie, however do you do?
They are very dull, Mr. Wickham. They see nobody and go nowhere. Send stupid Mr. Bingley, stupid went a stupid way.
Lydia!
He'll make you laugh and laugh. Wickham, do your impression of the cross-eyed cabman, or tell them the shocking story of how Mr. Darcy stole your inheritance. Anything to break up their seriousness. Come, sir, come.
Lydia! Would you please accompany me to the other room for a moment?
Why?
Go!
High spirits. May I?
I thought only ladies played these games.
I used to play with Mr. Darcy's sister.
I hear she is very accomplished.
A proud girl, like all that family. Once her brother turned against me, so did she.
Mr. Wickham, Lydia said that you told her of your disinheritance. I thought you swore never to speak of Mr. Darcy's misdeeds.
I'd resolved not to, but I'm afraid I am most imperfect. Too open, too honest. Do you judge me for that?
Oh, no. Mr. Darcy has earned his infamy.
Miss Lizzie. I believe I finally caught you.
Mr. Wickham, allow me to apologize. I should not have run on in that wild manner.
I've been known to behave in a wild manner myself.
Papa, this is Mr. Wickham. He escorted me and Mary home today.
Where is Mary, Lydia?
Ah, the infamous Mr. Wickham. I've heard a great deal of nonsense about you. Which one shall you be taking off my hands?
Mary! Little Mr. Spit ahead!
That's not true at all, Mary. You will drag your feet. My brain, so it's most unattractive.
Please do pardon the chaos. I wish I could say it was unusual.
Miss Lizzie, may I call you please?
I'm going to visit my friend in Kent tomorrow, but I shall return in a few weeks.
I hope I can wait so long.
I must congratulate you, Elizabeth. Jane has been crossed in love recently, and I know women like that, above all things, gives a lady a sort of distinction. And now you have found a man to disappoint you too.
Mr. Wickham shall not disappoint me if I can prevent it, Papa.
Why not? He seems perfectly capable of jilting your credibility.
And how many times must I tell you? Tell everyone. I shall never marry.
Ah, so they all say before. How can you promise to be so much wiser than so many of your fellow creatures? Never send for whom the bell tolls, Elizabeth. It tolls for thee.
Bing, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bing, bing, bong, bing. Oh, they chime to welcome you, cousin. Well, they do not ring for you as much as the Angelus, but if the Lord shall allow this double celebration, Jubilee,
Recognition.
recognition of your visit, bing, bing, bong, bing, bing.
My dear! Perhaps you could go and collect us some nosegays for tonight.
Ah, yes, Miss Bennet. I do not want to overpower you, my sweet, sweet, sweet cousin. We have been invited to tea at Rosings by none other than Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
Lady Catherine.
De Bourgh.
Yes.
And you have the inestimable honor of meeting Miss de Bourgh, her charming daughter. She is unfortunately of delicate constitution, is not out, and as I told Lady Catherine de Bourgh, has deprived the British court of its brightest jewel, star ornament.
My dear! Nosegays. How are you, Lizzie?
I'm very...
He loves to garden. I encourage him to do so. And walk to Rosings every day. And tend to his parishioners and be out. Generally.
Hollyhocks, daisy, siren, guys.
How are you, Charlotte?
Oh, life on this side of the line is imperfect. But when I get overwhelmed or frustrated, I just play a little game. I close my eyes and drift away, and let whatever is bothering me become mere noise, like birds chirping or bells ringing, meaningless and inoffensive portion of the scenery.
Nice.
The house is pretty, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Ladies, the carriage will fetch us within the hour. Miss Bennet, what do you intend to wear?
This.
Oh! Well, come.
Turn, Miss Bennet. Turn. 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 Tolerable figure, don't you think, Anne?
Yes.
It's a bit too fat. You're from Meryton, Miss Bennet. I had a relation there recently and drove there once myself. The lanes were dirty.
I'm sorry to hear.
And you're one of 4 sisters? Any of them handsomer than herself.
Most, my lady.
All girls, and thus your father's estate shall go to Collins. How poorly planned.
It was not my decision to make, ma'am.
Well, you should feel the lesson in it when your father dies. Is he a young man? No. Well, are any of your younger sisters out in society? Or the younger? Out before the eldest are married. But some must be very young.
The youngest is only 14, but really, ma'am, it would be hot upon my younger sisters if they should not have their share of amusement, because the elder may not have any inclination to marry.
How very odd. Mr. William, you naughty, naughty boy! I'm not expecting you until tomorrow.
I traveled early to avoid bad weather, ma'am.
We're only too pleased. Except Anne and I are not dressed for company of note. My nephew, Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy. Nephew? The Rector Collins, his wife, and...
Miss Elizabeth Bennet.
Did you mix with this company in Meryton, sir?
Not willingly.
We attended a dance or two together, ma'am.
I had no idea you danced.
Danced.
Sit by Anne, sir, and tell us of your journey. By Anne Fitzwilliam. Do you play, Miss Bennet?
A little, but not well.
We shall hear you.
Oh, you were right. Fitzwilliam! And I never even thought of having a Christian name before. It's Fitzwilliam!
He shall hear you. Don't look. He's staring. Fitzwilliam is staring.
What is he looking at, sir? What is he talking of, ladies?
Of the instrument, ma'am.
No doubt superior to whatever you have known. We brought it from Fitzwilliam.
I am surprised to find you in Kent, Miss Bennet.
It seems you cannot escape me, sir. And vice versa.
She came to visit me, sir.
Mrs. Collins is an old friend of mine, Mr. Darcy. You might have danced with her in Meryton had you ever deigned to engage young ladies in that county.
I never had the pleasure of a formal introduction.
And nobody can be introduced in a ballroom. Fitzwilliam.
Perhaps I am ill qualified to recommend myself to strangers.
Shall we ask this gentleman the reason? Shall we ask him why a man of sense who has lived in the world is ill-qualified to recommend himself to strangers?
I cannot converse naturally with those I have never seen before. I cannot catch their tone or appear interested in their concerns. And I cannot say things which I know are not true or be otherwise...
Unserious. My fingers do not move across this instrument in the masterly manner which I see so many women do. But they are just as capable of expression. They have not the same force or rapidity or charm. But I know, Charlotte, that it is my own fault because I will not take the trouble of practicing.
Then, Mrs. Collins, neither of us perform perfectly in front of strangers.
What is he talking of, Fitzwilliam?
Of music.
Oh, I must have my share in the conversation.
I shall tell you what they are saying, ma'am.
Mr. Darcy, might I inquire after Mr. Bingley?
I left Bingley in town.
He left Meryton quite suddenly. All of you did.
And were we missed?
Sir, I am instructed to take your place. Your aunt Judge wishes you to hear how Mr. Berg would handle an instrument.
Yeah. Come, sir. Come.
Elizabeth Bennet, I think that man admires you. Charlotte, do you still find him odious?
I still find him odd. And of course I still find him offensive. Remember his treatment of Wiccan.
His behavior appears reprehensible, but perhaps we have misjudged him. Charlotte, for 10,000 a year, I could overlook all manner of imperfection.
Perhaps I should oblige the company with this tune. Song and...
My dear, you need...
Love if you will, but marry makes two hearts
My
beat as
dear.
one. Like to a double cherry down my chin, the juice will run.
My dear, you need not join us. That is, you needn't leave your conversation.
But I am sent away. Lady Catherine is arranging a tete-a-tete. A perfect match, for she shall inherit Roses and he Pemberley. Together they will have all the fortune in England.
And so die the hopes of poor Miss Bingley.
That Bingley brings me to my other point. I have a double plot. Mission intrigue! I have been sent to ask, what lady was it that showed Mr. Darcy and married him?
A lady.
Yes, well you know that was the card.
A lady.
Mr. Bingley got into a scrape with a woman. It would have been the most unwise, imprudent match. The girl came from a vulgar, common, low sort of family. And if Mr. Darcy had not whisked him out, Mr. Bingley would have been caught, entangled, ensnared entirely. But you must know, my dear, what was her name? Oh. I like to eat roast goose with stuffing. Stuffed up so tight in my wreck. Sorry.
Lizzie, I am so sorry. I was wrong about everything the whole time.
And I was right, Charlotte. I was right. I've seen you clearly from the beginning.
They said you were ill, and then I did not see you just now in the church. I came to inquire if you are... better.
I'm fine.
Bells.
Pardon?
Bells. They never will ring if they are made imperfectly, you know. Weak metal, careless manufacture, and they never shall sound as they should. But if they are cast of stronger stuff, of quality, you ring them once and you can't control the vibration, can you? They just go and go however they will once they are struck, and nothing can stop them. And whether they sound for alarum or benediction, they cannot be unrung. They ring and ring until their energy is spent or they crack.
What?
They ring to demand. Attention must be paid. Something is happening. Something beyond our control. Something arranged over our heads has changed.
What?
In vain I have struggled. My feelings will not be repressed. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you. I love you. In spite of all of my endeavors, in spite of the absolute unsuitability of the match and of your family, and quite frankly, your own conduct on occasion, I must give you my congratulations, for you have ensnared me.
Ensnared?
Your mother taught you well. I'm yours entirely. Miss Bennett, you win.
No!
You need to just let me help. You just need to let me. If you would just let me help you.
I need you! If I could feel gratitude for your declaration, sir, I would thank you for it. But I've never desired your good opinion.
You cannot be serious.
I actually am, and I'm so far from trying to ensnare you, Mr. Darcy, that I've openly decreed you as the most uncivil of men.
Uncivil? But with so little civility I am refused.
How can I be otherwise when you tell me you like me against your will? Your reason, your character! And I will the provocations. You reproach me with my conduct when you've acted in a reprehensible manner yourself. Your treatment of Wickham.
I suppose Wickham is a great favorite of yours?
He is an agreeable man, one whom you robbed of his inheritance, over nothing but your pride.
Who told you that?
And I have other claims laid against you. Had my feelings not already been decided? Had they even been favorable? Do you think I could ever accept the man who has ruined the happiness of a beloved sister?
Perhaps Mr. Wickham has told all of Meryton that I deprived him of the living promised to him by my father.
He said,
Wickham attempted to seduce my sister. Georgiana was only 14 years old, Miss Bennet. A sweet, soft-hearted romantic. An innocent. That is the agreeable man that you speak of.
I cannot believe it.
Believe what you will. I speak frankly, as always. I would slander Wickham's name as openly as he does my own, but for the sake of Georgiana's reputation. And as to your sister, Bingley liked Jane Bennet, I could see that. But then he likes everybody. And she did not seem to invite a serious attachment. She was amiable, but I never saw evidence that she felt anything more.
Then you're blind.
What I did see was an imperfect match with unreliable and indifferent characters spurred on by the fortune-hunting machine that is your mother, whose total lack of propriety even you must acknowledge. The morning we left Meryton, Bingley did intend to propose to your sister. I urged him instead to absent himself from the county. I told him that Jane Bennet did not care for him and that he would soon be trapped in a shameful connection. But had I known that she did indeed return his affection...
She did. She does.
I still would have done the same. It was a most imperfect match, and I was glad to spare him from it. Toward Bingley, I have been kinder than toward myself. But then, I could do nothing. I did not mean to hurt your pride, but I abhor falsehood, and you cannot expect me to rejoice in the inferiority of your family. Surely, in your life, you have seen the consequences of imprudent attachment. Surely you have seen the misery of a mismatch. Could I speak in flatteries like other gentlemen?
You are mistaken, Mr. Darcy, if you suppose you could have ever made me the offer that would have tempted me to accept. From the first moment of my acquaintance with you, you've been unfailingly arrogant, prideful, and disdainful of the feelings of others, most particularly my sister Jane. A sweet, soft-hearted romantic, an innocent. I have no inclination towards marriage, Mr. Darcy, but even if I did, you are the last man in the world who I would ever consider.
This is too much. Miss Bennet, I swear that I never shall express sentiments again which are so disgusting.
What a mess. Oh. And all from that conceited, taciturn, unfeeling man. Can you believe it?
You can hardly call him unfeeling.
How can you defend him, Charlotte, after what he said about my family?
Lizzie, you must admit your mother is rather exceptional. Even if... Fine. But you cannot excuse his cruelty towards Jane. But if he thought her indifferent, then... Et tu, Charlotte? You must allow me to make some objections in the service of such a match. 10,000 a year! When will you write to him to tell the truth about Mr. Wickham?
I shan't. Who knows what's true? Mr. Wickham tells one story, Mr. Darcy another, and whatever defense you may mount for him, Charlotte, Mr. Darcy was very insulting.
It sounds as if you did him as much injury as he did you.
I cannot help it. When I'm around him, I'm irresistibly tempted to aggravate him, and he's so self-righteous, so obstinate, so irritating. It's all too much. £10,000, Lizzie! £10,000. I wouldn't accept Mr. Darcy for 100,000, even if I didn't hate him, which I do, Charlotte. I do. I shall never think of him again, and I'm very, very glad of it.
Well, you may think of him occasionally during our tour of his estate.
What?
Lady Catherine has asked us to accompany her to Pemberley next week.
Charlotte, you must be mad. I cannot visit his home.
Lady Catherine and Mr. Darcy shall not be there. He shall be in town the entire time.
No.
You cannot make me go alone.
No, you won't be alone. You'll have your husband.
Precisely. Come, Lizzie, come.
One of the largest private estates in all of England. First return in the garden, dates back to 1550-55. Do not step on anything, and then we're on to the main wing.
You might have been mistress of all of this, Lizzie.
Ladies, do keep up!
It is overwhelming, ma'am.
Overwhelming, Miss Collins. A weak description. It is amazing, breathtaking, outstanding. I find myself completely dead.
And what do you say, Miss Bennet?
The grounds have so much natural beauty, ma'am.
Thus stated.
It grows wild under Fitzwilliam's care, but I'm sure he'd be talked into having all these imperfections pruned. A lady's touch is needed. I'll have him discipline the gardener, not that he will do so properly.
What do you mean, ma'am?
He's far too friendly with the servants, Mrs. Collins. Overpays them, overfeeds them, and he will take responsibility for every worn-out old pensioner. Though he makes his estate a charity, another thing that will change with a right-minded mistress. Don't you agree, Anne?
Yes. Milady, in Meryton I knew another gentleman associated with this household. Were you acquainted with him, Mr. Wickham?
The steward's boy? Terrible teller of fibs, as I recall. My brother brought him up at his own expense, but blood will tell, Miss Bennet, and he turned out no gentleman at all.
He never washes his hands when he goes to the
Fine shrubbery here. This statuary alone is worth over £800.
Dianthus, cornflowers, hollyhocks, lilac, primrose, syringas.
My dear! Let it become like noise, like bells ringing or birds chirping.
Glorious Galphinians!
Meaningless. Oh my god! What are you doing here?
What am I doing here?
I mean, I'm here. Lady Catherine Dunn. Anna. Here am I. Alone. So, you were told you were away.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
No, not at all. It's just that this is your home, and it is big.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm impressed. Anyone would be, I suppose, but me in particular. This is a nice garden.
I come here when I need to reflect,
Oh,
to reconsider.
ah.
Miss Bennett, I have been rethinking, regretting some expressions.
Lizzie!
Charlotte Young?
What's wrong?
Lizzie,
I drank a letter from your father because this morning delivered by messenger.
I told him not to open it.
It is a family matter, my dear, a family tragedy. Your sister, Miss Lydia, she has.
For heaven's sake, Collins, is she deceased?
She has run away with Mr. Wickham!
Charlotte has eloped with Mr. Wickham?
No, not run away. Yes, she has run away!
Better that she had died.
Lizzie, we must get you home. My dear.
I have not finished at all.
I shall escort you.
No. She's only 14.
I'm sorry, Collins, for your cousin. For that whole branch of your family is ruined. 4 daughters and 1 fallen. No one shall ever have them now. Shall we, Collins? Do keep up.
Papa's made inquiries everywhere, but there's no trace of them. I do not know what we will do.
How is Mama? She must be very bad.
It's not Mama, Lizzie. It's...
Mary! You're back. She locked me in a closet. Lydia, when she ran off with Wickham. I was there at least an hour, but I'm recovering nicely. What, Jane? I'm not sad Lydia's gone. She's always running off and leaving me behind. Like you two. Like everyone. I'm never one in your games, am I? Besides, shocking as the event is, we may draw from it a useful lesson about perfection. Perfection, purity, flawlessness. An idea that we must pursue, for one false step condemns a person, a female person, to ruin. One slip pollutes her forever. We also learn from poor, stupid Lydia that loss of virtue is irretrievable, that reputation is no less brittle than it is beautiful, and that a lady may never be too irreproachable in her behavior. Perfection. Oh, Paul.
Lizzie, I didn't hear the coach. I must.
Shall we fetch you some tea, Papa? Or something to eat?
You know I cannot stomach it.
Paul, forgive me.
For what?
I was giving some private intelligence about Wickham's proclivities, but I didn't want to give the source any credit. This is all my fault.
No. For years, out of some disappointment, I removed myself from this family. Is it any wonder with a father so absent and a mother so focused on conquest that a silly child will become easy prey?
But I filled her head with nonsense, deemed love a mistake and marriage an irreparable mistake.
And who taught you to only think the worst of attachment? It's my fault. My poor girls. I know we are all ruined.
Mr. Bennett, steel your nerves.
Mama, you look so... well.
Don't be so sure you know everything about me, Elizabeth. Now is the time for strength, isn't it, my dear? Perhaps attachment isn't always so foolish.
Hello. Hello.
Lydia, I'm so
Well, this is a fine homecoming. You ought to be more civil considering the prize I have won. Come, sir. Come, come, come.
How dare you! How dare you!
My husband is welcome here. Your husband? I told you. I've won a prize.
Oh, Lydia, you have always been my favorite. Married at 14, come here and let me kiss you. You too, Wickham, you sly dog.
Isn't it a good joke, Mama?
Mrs. Lydia Wickham, you shall need visiting cards, and won't Miss Lucas just pop?
Miss Bennett! Sir, shall we discuss this in private?
It's delightful to see you all again.
Now, I suppose you will all insist on examining the ring or fluttering over me as single women do. Jane, won't you fetch me some tea?
No, she will not.
She should. I am before her in precedence now, before all of you.
I am frantic to hear all the details, my dear. Now that your father has decided against dueling your darling Mr. Wickham.
Unless Papa plans to shoot him in the privacy of his study.
Mr. Bennett! Mr. Bennett!
Papa won't harm him, for then they shall have me on their hands again, and they have enough spinsters as it is. You have really married him, Lydia? Poor Jane. I hope someday you have half as good luck.
Lydia, what were you thinking? To suppose this family to such...
You locked me in a closet! Your cup!
Bless you! How could you behave in such a manner? I watched, I listened. And I have learned many lessons. You never act on your impulses and always try to be perfect. So you lost Mr. Bingley. Did you get what you wanted? Your friend Charlotte married only for serious considerations. Did she get what she wanted? You said it is all a game. So why shouldn't I have some fun? I have just as much a chance as anyone of being happy.
With Wickham, a man who stole you away from your family without the slightest intention of marrying
I
you.
knew Wickham would come round to marriage eventually. And once Darcy found us, we were out of touch the very next day. Mr. Darcy? I promised I wouldn't tell. Jane, please get that tea.
What did Mr. Darcy have to do with it?
He tracked us down at the inn in London. Darcy and Wickham talked in private, but I listened at the latch as I do. And Darcy told Wickham that if he married me, which he would have wanted to at any rate, Darcy would pay off all Wickham's debts and give him an annuity to keep us out of trouble.
So a man had to be paid to marry you.
No! Yes! Yes! You hush, you, all of you! With your grey faces! None of you know what you're talking about. How would you know how to make a match? I thought you should be happy. I have won the game. I have married as I ought. And soon, I will make you all lovely maiden aunts. I thought that's what you wanted.
Calm yourselves, my girls. Nobody has been shot.
You're all just jealous.
Lydia,
Where are we going?
I have consented to the match, but he is not welcome in this house. I have other daughters to think of.
But this is my home. Was your home. I want to stay here.
we do not always get what we want. Sometimes we must settle for what is open and available. Isn't that right, Lizzie?
you should be pleased.
And so we are, my dear.
Jane, Lizzie, promise me you will visit soon. Maris? You locked me in a closet.
You may come to us as often as you like.
If I have time. Married women, you know, are very busy and important. Do wish me joy.
He is as fine a fellow as I ever saw. He simpers and smirks and makes love to us all.
And very charming.
Oh, I need to lie down.
And so handsome.
Miss Bennet, please, my nerves.
Lizzie, why would Mr. Darcy interfere? It must be credit to you.
No, Jane. Mr. Darcy is the person who told me of Wickham's history. Well, perhaps he could have been more open, and I'm sure he feels some responsibility for it.
To do so much, just for honor's sake.
Mr. Darcy is, we must concede, a most honourable man. Jane, how could I have acted so despicably? Who am I to reproach Lydia with foolishness? Mr. Darcy was right. He hurt my pride over and over again from the first moment we met, and I endlessly indulged in my own cleverness, all in the service of my own prejudice. I truly enjoyed detesting Darcy, and I did him 1,000 times more injury than he ever did to me. I abused him openly, even to Wickham, the lowest of men. I, who boasted my own discernment. Until this moment, I never knew myself. I've been so
Blind. What will you do?
There's nothing to do. If I were to see Darcy again, I might apologize for being so
Blind.
Perhaps I would act differently now, but I never shall see him again, so...
So, I know something of that. Here we are, 2 suitable matches lost. 2 imperfect old maids. It isn't so bad, is it? We shall see.
Lady Catherine, Miss Bennet, is this the fond sister? No, too old.
Jane, Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
I'll speak to Miss Elizabeth Bennet. Alone. Go, sister. Go, go, go. Miss Bennet, why am I here?
Why are you
I'm here because a scandalous falsehood has recently been brought to my attention. You know what matter I'm speaking of. Do not play games with me, Miss Bennet. You've been spreading nonsense about certain interactions with my nephew.
Do you mean his proposal?
Aha! Expose! This is the fiction of which I speak.
Lady Catherine.
Fitzwilliam cannot have possibly made an offer to you, Miss Bennet. For he is already engaged to my daughter.
And such an offer was indeed impossible.
Precisely. Now promise me that you will never engage in inappropriate feelings for my nephew.
You have no right to concern yourself in my affairs.
So you would burden Fitzwilliam with your sordid family history.
I must ask you to leave.
You do know that any connection you have with Darcy would absolutely disgrace him, don't you? That such a ridiculous mismatch would only bring him shame and misery. Do you want to make him the laughingstock of the world?
Madame, Lady Catherine.
Oh, my lady, such an honor!
Miss Bennet, I should like a tour of your park.
My lady?
Your dirty, dirty lanes, then. I will leave Miss Elizabeth Bennet time for reflection, and you and I will discuss matters privately. Come, 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 come.
Lizzie, what is happening?
Jane, Lady Catherine has come to arrange matters above my head. Mamma shall have some very shocking news.
What do you mean?
Oh, Mary, please stop doing that.
Doing what?
What is happening?
Mary, please go tell whoever it is that we've had
Jane.
This cannot be for me.
Oh, yes, it is. It's for you, isn't it? All for everybody else. Because for always, for everywhere, forever, everybody plays but me!
I beg your pardon, Mr. Darcy, but you cannot be calling on me.
Come!
Mr. Bingley.
Bingley?
Jane? Say something.
Bingley, speak!
Who wants to go for a walk? So, I can't always be wordless, Lizzie. Not always faultless. Come, sir. Come.
No. You must leave. I do not want you to be the laughingstock of the world.
I beg your pardon.
If your aunt discovers you, I cannot.
My aunt!
She came to make me up.
My aunt is here?
Oh, you've really been too impossible.
What kind of promise?
I do not understand you. I must thank you for bringing Bingley.
It was the right thing, given.
You do the right thing often, so I must also thank you for your actions with Lydia.
That was also the right thing to do. It was my fault.
No, Mr. Darcy, that was my fault.
It was mine.
No.
No!
No! You not argue with me for once.
It was mine! It was mine! You do these perfectly honorable deeds, sir, and say these beautiful things despite not being good at talking, really, and you seem so... But then you do these other things which are quite... You act in a very appalling manner, and I cannot think around you, and I cannot see straight, and I talk too much, and... No, I meant to be serious now. I mean, to apologize. I'm sorry for many, not all, but some things. And I don't want you to be ruined. I don't want you to be the laughingstock of the world, so will you just go now, please?
What kind of promise did my aunt try to extract from you?
That I would never engage in inappropriate feelings towards you.
You must have found that easy enough. Didn't you?
I cannot think with all this ringing.
Didn't you?
What does it matter, Mr. Darcy? You are engaged to your cousin.
What?
Mr. Darcy, are you the best man?
Oh no.
Miss William?
Catherine?
Mama! Jane!
Bingley!
Miss Bennet!
Mama! Mary!
Oh. What is all this racket?
Mr. Bennet, Bingley is here again, and Lady Catherine has come because...
Sir, I have reason to believe that your daughter,
Jane?
Elizabeth,
Lizzie?
is trying to ensnare my nephew,
Bingley?
Fitzwilliam.
Darcy?
No, not again! Your Elizabeth is trying to ensnare my Darcy, and I'm going to put a stop to it! This is a serious matter!
I told her, Mr. Bennet, I told her ladyship it is impossible. But first of all, she assures me that Miss Darcy is engaged to her daughter.
No!
Fitzwilliam!
Aunt Catherine?
It is a de facto engagement.
Aunt Catherine!
You've been intended for each other since infancy!
So you're not engaged.
But it is a perfect match.
Even that, my ladyship, is quite irrelevant. For Elizabeth has always been very open about the fact that she hates Mr. Darcy and all the time. Always has, always will. Don't you, Lizzie? Lizzie, don't you?
I find that perhaps I've spoken a lot of nonsense, Mamma. I do not actually hate him.
I will not stand by!
Peace, Lady Catherine! There is hope yet. Mr. Darcy, I thought you never look at a woman but to see a flaw. But you shall still be disappointed, for my Lizzie is firmly resolved against marriage altogether. Aren't you? Ask not for whom the bell tolls, Elizabeth.
Oh, Lizzie, you will shut the face and that noise is on every Bingley, Bingley, sir. 10,000 I
The rest of you! Go, go, go! Now, Mary, when is your gentleman to arrive?
This is all so mortifying.
Your family is...
Yours too.
My sister is lovely,
So is mine.
and my father was the best of men.
So is mine. And even my mother has her virtues. Not that I can believe I'm saying it.
Yes. So, you do not hate me then?
Rather the opposite. No! No, not exactly. No. But I don't know myself. How can I know anybody else? It just seems so arranged beyond our control, and I cannot see, and it's so ridiculous, and it's not perfect.
No.
So how do you know it's the right match? I do not know.
I do not know.
I do not know.
I do not know.
This is all too much.
Then let us make it a game.
But it is not a game, it's serious, but it's also ridiculous.
And then
but
let
it
us make it a dance. Elizabeth? Lizzie, will you?
We were both young,
But you love yourself so much, and we know ourselves so little. Do you want us to be the laughing stock of the world? Do you?
Let me.
6 years now, and I'm gonna force myself not to cry because you've become like a mother at school to us. We come to you for all our problems. And we love you so freaking much. And the fact that you were able to put on a show like this while also doing a musical is absolutely incredible. And you are the most incredible person I've ever met. And I have you to thank for all the friends I've made. Just thank you.
August. It's been postponed because of COVID, because of ICE, and because our one act made it to state for the first time. I'm just so happy to share that creative project with you. We had directed it together. It was just an incredible thing to grow under your mentorship. Up to that final culmination was so special, and this as well. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I truly cherished it, and I love you to death. Thank you so much for everything.
For real, I mean, these past 6 years, I accidentally joined your class. And, I fell in love with it immediately, and I couldn't be more thankful for it. And I really think a lot of the friends I have today are all because of you. And definitely, I have a passion for theater now because of you and the arts and stuff. And so I'm just really thankful for you and how you treated me and my brother as like a second mother to us. So I'm really gonna miss you next year.